of Appeals issued a stay in the trial after Judge Sherry Stevens closed the courtroom to the media and the public. The stay halts testimony of a mystery witness until the appeals court can decide if that was legal. Prosecutor Juan Martinez told the judge she shouldn't let Nurmi stall the trial just because he doesn't like the stay.
It gives you, the judge, the discretion to order the defendant to go forward, and I believe that you should exercise that discretion.
It came out really clear to me that he was simply using her. I mean, he was out dating nice other girls and then coming back and, you know, using her, and he would throw it in her face. It came to a head one day when we were, I was coincidentally in Las Vegas, and she called me just hysterical. They'd had a fight. He felt threatened by her. She needed to go somewhere. I experienced him calling her, him cussing at her. They wouldn't let me say it on the witness stand, but when he cussed at her, she ducked, almost winced like she was ducking a bullet. Why do good girls hang out with bad guys? She was willing to change her religion. She was willing to do everything for him. And every time she would try to break away, he would do something to bring her back.
Is when people become enmeshed in these highly chaotic relationships, it is acting out the circumstances of their childhood. And yes, he came from a horrible situation.
When did you hear from Jodi after Travis was killed? When was the first time that you heard her voice?
I got a call from her at 3:30 in the morning the night that he had died.
Stabbed Travis Alexander late that afternoon, 29 times altogether, almost decapitated him and shot him in the head. Why did she say she was crying? Why did she say she was so upset?
Well, she said he was dead. I knew she was crazy about him.
She said he was dead?
She said he was dead. She said Travis is dead, and she was hysterical. And
HLN, basically CNN's more scandalous sister, has been covering this trial exhaustively for months and months and months, and benefiting from the ratings phenomenon that it's become. In some ways, Jodi Arias' trial was a repeat of Casey Anthony's trial a few years ago.
Well, that's right. Casey Anthony's lawyer says there's no way his client could get a fair trial in Orange County.
The Casey Anthony trial 2 years ago in Florida gained HLN some of its highest ratings in history. 5.2 million viewers turned on the channel for the verdict reading. That was a gain of about 1,700% from the channel's average at that time of day.
Jury in Arizona could come back any moment with the verdict in the Jodi Arias case, and we know you can't wait.
HLN went all out, basically becoming the new court TV channel once again, with special hours of programming, reenactments of the murder, and a nightly jury comprised of viewers, many of whom, well, almost all of whom, believed Jodi Arias was guilty. All of this coverage on HLN also influenced other channels. The morning shows glommed onto the trial, and maybe most significantly, CNN, the bigger sister, so to speak, of HLN, also started covering it more and more. When you're CNN and HLN is beating you every day in the ratings, it's hard to resist covering the trial more. To contrast, the New York Times on Thursday printed about 150 words about the guilty verdict on page 18 of the national section. Now HLN is on to the sentencing phase, and they're taking it every bit as seriously as they did the daily trial. Of course, the one thing that HLN and no channel can ever broadcast is an execution. But they've shown everything else up until the point of the debate now between life in prison or the death penalty.
Lots of speculating on what could happen.
Well, the Jodi Arias trial is up in the air right now. We don't know when, or the defense said that they would basically cancel their entire case rather than make that witness public.
If we have a mistrial by media, so be it. And the state never opposed any of the media motions. They wanted them in here so they could exploit these proceedings.
So far in the retrial and the sentencing phase, 2 jurors have been excused, one for violating Judge Sherry Stevens' orders and talking to the media. been criticized by trial watchers and even other lawyers as out of control. They say Stevens doesn't rule her court as strongly as some other judges.
She tries to understand both positions on both sides, but certainly other judges that I have been in front of certainly would not put up with some of the nonsense that's been going on in this case.
It's already cost at least $2.5 million, and many believe it's headed for an inevitable appeal after this trial, too.
I think at this point we're at the final stages, and we're just adding on to that pile of appellate issues.
There was a witness last year who ended up in the hospital in the middle of her testimony. She was on for several days. She was a domestic violence expert because of stress. And it is absolutely true that viewers were taking to social media to say nasty things about her, writing bad reviews about her books on Amazon. I mean, she never anticipated something like this, and it really physically affected her. It's the history of the case from last year and the cyber lynching of Jodi Arias and her witnesses and the threats. The defense is now relying on its Rule 9.3 of the Arizona Rules of Criminal Procedure. And 9.3 deals with exclusion of witnesses and spectators. But you can't close the courtroom entirely, even to the media, if there is a clear and present danger to the defendant's right to a fair trial. I believe there is no question that the judge has violated the Constitution. But you can't close the courtroom entirely, even to the media, if there is a clear and present danger to the defendant's right to a fair trial. What is the clear and present danger to Jodi Arias' right to a fair trial if the media hears what she has to say and reports on it? There are select defense witnesses who are refusing to testify unless the courtroom is closed. Mind-boggling to me that the defense can say, we can't get a fair trial if the public knows what's going on in here. We need a star chamber. We need to close it off, and there'd be no reporting whatsoever coming out until after the verdict.
What is different about this case, which garnered so much media attention here? Why does the media love this case?
But just like Casey Anthony's case, which was televised, and she was acquitted. I mean, there was a lot of venom against her. You're talking about beautiful women, interesting to a lot of people, a beautiful woman who has killed. And I see that as a common denominator between Casey Anthony and Jodi Arias. There's so much salaciousness in the Jodi Arias case. And of course, it appeals to the voyeur in a lot of us, a lot of cases that are not about romantic sex, sex crime cases. We don't cover them.
What is Caris on Crime? How can people find it? Why did you start it?
It's $5.99 a month. You can just subscribe for a month if you want to get the latest in the case. I have the courtroom photos. I have all sorts of documents. I have my analysis, and I do a video summary at the end of the day. And so anyway, it's sort of one-stop shopping.